Good evening, beautiful souls, and welcome to another night of practices to make us awesome for the entire 2026. And today we're going to talk about something that sounds crazy simple, but honestly, it's one of the hardest parts of any spiritual or personal growth practice: consistency. Not motivation, not inspiration, but consistency. That quiet, steady showing up even when you're tired, overwhelmed, distracted, or just plain ready to give up. So in this session, we're going to walk you through a couple of practices, okay? One is how to use some candles in a very intentional manner. And one is a grounded, mundane practice to help keep with that consistency so that no matter what, you can still do that resolution, that breaking of a bad habit, keep on that project that you know that you love, but you keep on feeling it like everything is going wrong. We're also going to talk a little bit about how to cycle your intentions week to week so that burnout doesn't really become a full thing and nothing gets forgotten. This is about keeping your intentions alive, not forcing them into action. So take a breath and let's get rolling with some candles and some magic. Alright, so real quick, I do apologize, but I realize that I actually don't have all of the supplies I need. But this is actually a great lesson because that means that you guys can also see that you can switch things around whenever you don't have all the supplies you need for a spell. Typically, for this kind of a motivation, if you will, well, momentum. That's the word I'm looking for. For this momentum candle spell, typically you would want a white candle to clear the path, a green candle to help build the foundation for growth, and a yellow candle for momentum. In my case, what I'll be using is, instead of a white candle, I'll be using the Fool card because that's all about new beginnings and clearing a path for new things. For my green candle, I'll be using a Seven of Coins because that is actually a lot about preparation for growth in itself. And for momentum, I'll be using the Chariot card because, hey, it's all about going forward. But after you've gotten your white, yellow, and green candles, you're also going to want a small piece of paper and something to write with. And on that piece of paper, what you're going to do is write one simple sentence: I consistently show up for my intentions. And if you guys would like a PDF version of this spell, feel free to comment below PDF, please, and I'll be all too happy to get that set up for anyone to download. But you're just going to keep that small piece of paper short, sweet, and to the point. I consistently show up for my intentions. After you've got your sentence wrote down and your candles ready to go, what you're going to do, and I'll be doing this to a degree with you right now actually, is you're going to set up everything in a bit of a triangle pattern if you've got a space to spread it out enough. Like even right now, I've got my Fool card, Chariot, and Seven of Coins all in a triangle in front of me right now. And what you're going to do is, at the top of your triangles, we're going to put your white candle, and you're going to put your green candle on the left, and your yellow candle on the right. Now, there's no right or wrong way to do that, so if your personal path would rather flip it around, or if your intuition says to flip it around a little bit, by all means. You do you, because there's no right or wrong way to do magic. To a degree. But once you've got your candles positioned, you're going to put your written intention in the center of that triangle, okay? And you're going to start slowly going around your candles to light them, starting with the white one. When you light the white one, you're going to say, I clear resistance. I return to clarity. For the green one, I build steady progress, even in small steps. And last but absolutely not least, with your yellow candle, I stay focused. I keep moving forward. And then you're going to sit with those flames for about a minute. And you don't need to visualize anything complicated or crazy. Just notice the warmth, the light, and the quiet commitment you're making to yourself. Now, place your hands on your chest and say, I don't need perfection. I choose consistency. Now, you're going to let the candles burn for a few minutes, and I would say anywhere from 1 to 5, again, depending on your practice. And feel free to take a moment to journal while you're watching your candles. And see where your intuition doesn't end up leading you on how to ensure that you can use all of this energy that you're building in the most healthy and progressive manner. And if you're doing like myself, where instead of candles you use tarot cards, you can literally just put both your hands over your tarot card and say the clearing resistance and choosing clarity and all of those other affirmations. And once you get to the end, instead of studying the flames, you're going to study the imagery and let yourself be guided by those images on how to go about best using your energy for your growth, for your clarity, for your momentum. Because if you're a little on the artsy side like myself and a little dangerous around flames, it's actually almost better to go with the images because you'll get more inspiration on how to work with those energies from the Fool with his optimistic viewpoints, from the Chariot moving forward without resistance. But you can do the setup once a week with the same intentions, the same everything. Just make sure that your intentions are fully behind it before you get started. Otherwise, you're just wasting time in candle wax. Consistency is always built through repetition, but you still have to want it for it to work. Now, as all of you know, I love to mundane and magic. And while I will never, ever, 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 ever tell anyone never to use magic to help them ensure they get what they want, I will always, always encourage to do the mundane as well because, hey, it is a fact that sometimes doing things the mundane way lets us know that we did work for it, we did earn it, so we appreciate it that much more. So this is going to be more or less a 5-minute anchor method where you're going to choose one small action related to your goal. Just one. And it's only for a 5-minute window. This could be 5 minutes of journaling, 5 minutes of stretching, planning. That's quite literally all it is just a 5 minutes where you set a timer and that's all you do for that 5 minutes. Now, if you want to go further than that 5 minutes, please, by all means, if you've got the energy and you've got the momentum, run with it. But this is purpose, not productivity. It's really just making sure that you're showing up for you and the goals that you're setting for yourself without the stress and headache. But 5 minutes teaches your nervous system that consistency is safe and manageable without the overload. Now, most days when you start, you'll naturally keep going. But for the days that you don't, you still honored your intention, and that still counts. Mundane is always just as important and just as powerful as using magic. That's because spiritual intention plus physical action equals manifestation. That is how it all comes together and works in a beautiful system. Now, I mentioned also that I was going to help you guys with a cycle system to help, if not slow down the possibility of burnout, eradicate the possibility entirely. But what you're going to do is every week you're going to cycle out an intention. Because if you try and work on everything at once, you've probably heard me say this 100 times. The only thing you're going to do is freak yourself out and run yourself ragged. Not the intention. The intention is to help you stay energized, motivated, and keeping your momentum. So for week 1, work on white candle type stuff, focusing on clarity, giving yourself some time for reflection. Release what's not working and ask yourself a very important question. What needs simplifying? Because in that 1 week, those are all things that you can work on that are all related. Even better, they're things that will help you flow into the next couple of weeks because your mind is prepared for working on those things because the extra junk is cleared out. For week 2, you're going to focus on growth, health, finances, long-term goals. And ask yourself during that week, what small action supports my future? Remember, nothing is ever built in huge, giant steps that last forever. Everything is built in small, little steps to ensure actual growth. Best example, a pearl. Pearl starts from a tiny single grain of sand, and then it eventually grows into something about the size of your fingernail. Not overnight, not in a week, but over time. So, keeping in mind that a pearl takes time, can your dreams really be rushed and actually be beautiful? And then for week 3, you're going to work on your motivation, your creativity, your confidence. And then you're going to ask yourself, where do I need momentum? Where do I need that extra push to help myself keep going? Once you've identified where all the junk is that you need to clear out of your head, once you've identified the small steps towards your future, you're going to see the things that are holding you back even more and see how to fix and how to tweak them. Once you've gotten through week 3, cycle back around. This creates a rhythm of purpose instead of pressure, where you are actually tending different parts of your body without forcing anything to keep moving. Instead, it becomes its own well-oiled system that is all in your best good. Because consistency isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It just shows up quietly over and over and over again. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be inspired every day. You're human. You just need to make sure that you are returning to yourself and your goals over and over. To your candles, to your breath, to your intentions. Even if it's just 5 minutes at a time. But thank you for showing up. Share this with somebody that you feel could use it, because we all know that someone. And always remember, you showing up for you is always enough. Have a great night.